Raz from Bang Dream have a new song and I'm here to check it out. It has an official music video and everything, so I'm kind of intrigued to see where it goes. The Bang Dream music videos tend to be a bit odd. Like, they're a lot of the time it will just be like sort of individual images, more like a lyric video, so I don't know 100% what to expect from that point, but I'm more interested to check out this song because I was told by a really big Raz fan in the Discord community, explode, that this song had come out, and he pointed out that there's a couple of things worth. First of all, this is with Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, which the fact that's a band still kind of weirds me out a little bit because I think of that as being the movie Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. That's what I always think of, like Johnny Depp swinging at imaginary bats with a spatula whenever I hear of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. But it is a band as well. Not a band I particularly followed. Maybe I should at some point. I cannot get over the Johnny Depp swinging at bats with a spatula thing. That it was a spatula, wasn't it? Been years since I've seen that movie. Anyway, this is apparently Raz collaborating with them. I don't know what the actual collaboration involves, whether it's just a writing collaboration. It does seem that Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas did the actual writing, so did they just do that, or did they have more input? I mean, Raz is already a band with a lot of members, so I don't imagine they're going to need any extras in there unless it's a vocal collaboration. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the aspects of that are. Looking forward to seeing if we get much in the way of a music video from this. It's called Drown Out the Noise and Push Through the Trash, which is it doesn't roll off the tongue, going to be honest, but it's an interesting title. I've also heard that this is in English and contains some naughty words. So let's enjoy this together. I don't know how, I've got to be honest, actually. I'm going to say this before we go in, because I might as well be honest about my standpoint before going this. I have got no problem with people using profanity in songs if it sounds like they actually mean it. If someone's just throwing away around profanity and it doesn't mean anything, it's kind of boring, like, oh, you could have thought of an interesting way of saying that. But if you're using it because you're really if you're using it because you're doing a song where it feels appropriate either for humor reasons or because the frustration of the song is so clear that you can, the vocal is kind of saying, I'm just so angry that I can't even think about just fucking talking normally anymore. Fuck, something like that, then I get it. Then I 100% get it. In that particular case, then yeah, throwing swearing. But it's particularly weird as well when it's a second language song. I've heard Raz do some stuff in English before where it didn't feel 100% like it. The English lyrics felt a little bit like they were kind of tacked on. So I'm very interested about this. It's going to be in English. I'm interested to see what the lyrics are. I don't usually follow lyrics much, so I'm more looking to see whether the lyrics distract me from the song than anything. But it could add something. It could add something as well. So just being 100% honest on my take going into this, obviously we know that when it comes to musical talent, Raz are just absolutely incredible. So skill level, I'm not going to be... Sorry, I've got like a cold or something and I'm having a lot of trouble speaking properly. Skill-wise, I'm not expecting any problems at all. I'm expecting the musicianship to be absolutely superb. But, and just see how the song plays out. Anyway, let's give it a go. As always, I'll be honest, and I'm looking forward to this one. Raz, drown out the noise and push through the trash.
Your world that is deep inside and cold.
Subtitles. Oh, I'm loving the 8-bit visuals. Alright, let's go. Alright, nice start. Let's go. Oh yeah, they're definitely going on that heavy approach to all the riffing. I'm liking this kind of weird chanted style rap. That's a good, strong chorus. Nicely pays off the kind of chaos in the verse by having such a good, solid, powerful chorus with Rachel's voice. I love the attitude and personality in those vocal bits. It's kind of a lot of expression, just even as silly as the vocal is, it's expressive. Okay! Okay, I'm loving these sort of shifts and changes. It's a very kind of restless song, which is great. It doesn't get stuck in a groove, keeps changing. See change? This animation's crazy. And the song as well has got some really cool energy. Ending like that as well is quite interesting. I notice how it's like it doesn't end on the chorus, it ends with just that sort of like final blast, which is chorus-esque but very different. This was really interesting. So, first of all, massive credit to Raz for giving a lot of personality to this. Massive credit as well to Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, who I'm assuming their contribution is only in the writing, from what I gathered, but I might be wrong. They did a really interesting job with this one. There's a lot to talk about here. So, first things first, I'm going to cover straight away the basics of my opinion before getting into some details. I actually really enjoyed this. I thought it was really cool. I thought it had a bright, colourful energy, a lot of personality. It swung between different things in a really interesting way. You know, went between kind of like the very chaotic kind of chanted rap kind of thing in the verse, and then had that big powerful chorus. But then it also had the switch up, which was kind of like a bridge through to the ending. This interesting build up to a final crescendo. This was a song that had a lot of ideas. It was playful. It really kind of like charged along. And I have to say that as a general, I really like this. Now, breaking down the individual things, maybe the things that I like the most and the things that maybe didn't work so much for me, or maybe the things where, but overall, the thing that, the thing that, as I mentioned, the things that worked best were the things I just mentioned there. The things that maybe I would maybe nitpick a little bit. When it comes to the lyrics, I've got to be honest, I talked a lot about the lyrics before we press play on this. As the best part, if this is one of those ones where, you know, like as someone who doesn't immediately focus on lyrics, if there wasn't subtitles at the bottom of this and you just played it to me, and I wasn't actively trying to listen to it in Japanese either, I wouldn't have noticed it was English. It doesn't come across. It's one of those ones where it's not obviously English because two reasons. First of all, it's being pronounced in a kind of a way which you second language English, which is fine. And the other thing as well is because it's got that problem that the last Razor Cyllin song had that I listened to in English, in that the lyrics don't sound like they were written by an English person. It sounds like. And this is often when people talk about like lyrics that don't sound naturally like they were written by an English person. It's because it just looks like a bunch of phrases, which are kind of generic phrases you put together if you typed in one sentence into like a translator and came back, and usually very heavy on sort of adjectives and hyperbole and our words avoiding responsibility. Yeah, it's like it's very strange. You know, the lyrics don't at all sound. Yeah, they don't sound at all like English. It's English words, but it's like, and I will say though, giving them credit, I do understand what the message was they were conveying. The mood comes across. I get it. It's like about not following a certain path, you know, going your own way, doing your own thing. But I would say that lyrically, I think this is one of those ones, and you know, some people might push back on this. I think it would have been better to done it if the lyric writer had done it in their first language and managed to convey the message in a slightly more meaningful way. But hey, if you just want it to be a fun sort of throwaway song that can like convey a basic mood, then these lyrics are fine. It's just I don't really think they added or distracted anything, and I don't really think they needed to be in English, but that's fine. And as a result, when the swearing came up, it was like one tiny bit, and I'll be honest, I didn't give a shit. It was just like it was there, it was gone. It wasn't particularly pronounced, so it was fine. It was fine. Yeah, it's fine. It didn't really stand out. So lyrically, it was pretty disposable. But what was great was the vocal performance. And this, before we talk about the music, I was focusing more on vocals in this than I was expecting. But the vocal performance for this really worked for me. Now, the reason being, as weird as this might sound, obviously Rachel is amazing on the lead vocals. We know she's got an amazing voice. And she absolutely, as usual, did that sort of thing where she gave that power and gravitas to the chorus and to the crescendo, which was so great. But the little sort of shouted rap bits, what worked about that is that if we just assess it, I mean, obviously it had like the chant quality where you just want to sort of shout along with it. But if we assess it as what it kind of was leaning towards, which is almost being a rap verse, what was interesting about this is that it, so often we hear a lot of groups now, and I'm not going to name any names, but shall we say certain mainstream female pop groups, where the idea is that everyone's like, oh, they're really good rappers. And I've said this before, a lot of the time, as far as I'm concerned, as someone who actually really cares about rap as an art form, I know, middle-aged white guy saying that, but still, I've always followed rap music, always paid a lot of attention to it and really care about it as an art form. I think it's a very underrated art form. My biggest problem with a lot of the rap that we hear from Asian pop groups is the fact that they've got the idea that you have to add a bit of rhythm to it, but there's like, it's soulless, it's dead, there's no personality. And the whole thing about rap is that, yeah, you can add a lot of rhythm, but a singer can add rhythm to a melody. The thing that you have to also have is you have to have personality in the delivery. You can't just do it with a little bit of attitude. It's fucking boring. You just get a computer to do it. You need to have something where what you lack in melody, you add in personality, in a bit of attitude that actually comes across as something more than just boring swag. And that's kind of what I liked here. If you listen to the intonation in her voice as she's doing this, it's kind of going up and down, and you hear these little bits where she gives a little bit of a descending note, a little bit of personality. It feels kind of acted, and rap needs to have that. It doesn't have to have it, but it's a massive part of what makes rap work, is when there's a real sense of performance to it. And although this is mostly kind of shouted, the rap bits, and the rap is not especially complicated, what it is interesting. You feel like there's a personality behind it. Was this the rap bit? You notice how, like, even there's like just that little bit of like, she's so overacting. But I would rather overacting than no acting. It's more interesting. It's more interesting. So, for me, that worked because there was a sense of something to it. And I think it's backed up by the fact there's layers. It sounds like a group vocal as well. That really helps because, again, it adds a little bit of personality to it. So for me, this was great from that perspective. Obviously, yeah, I would love it if it built into like something with a more complicated rhythm and add a little bit of that. But, that's not the type of song they're going for. They're going for something a bit more straight shooting. So I respect what they did there totally. And for me, that means that vocally, this was satisfying throughout. The little verse bits, they're short. They got a slightly rap-esque quality, but they got a lot of personality, which nicely counters quite well against the much more straight, powerful, gravitas-laden vocal that Rachel's doing in the chorus. I will say from an instrumental point of view, I think the keyboard is probably going to be very underrated because I think the keyboard did a lot of heavy lifting. This is one of those songs where, again, it gets into the riffing and the guitar and the bass are playing the same thing way too much for my personal liking. I know the bassist Ray Charles is also the singer, but you know, and I know when you're riffing, the bass is going to follow the guitar. It's not a thing that I'm a big fan of. I think the bass is its own instrument, and they can sometimes play together. I would like to have seen more deviation between them here, but still, it as a result, the guitar sections of this, they're great when they're riffing, but they don't feel as expansive as I want them to. They don't really grab me as much. But the keyboard, when the keyboard comes in, it adds an extra counter melody layer, which kind of compensates for that and thickens it out as well. Drumline was interesting as well. So this song just had a lot going on. Replay value, I'd be intrigued to know how I feel about this in a couple of months' time. But I would say certainly, Raz is a group who I've got a lot of respect for. I don't listen to them super frequently, but I always kind of know I'm going to get something interesting from them. And this was genuinely fun. I enjoyed this. If I was going to go back to Raz, this would be one of the songs I'd be thinking, yeah, do you know what? I enjoyed that. And go check that one out again. And credit as well, the video actually felt more like a video than usual. Yeah, it still basically plays out like a lyric video more than the official music video title that they like to put on these things, but I think it's got a lot of personality. There's some great visual moments in it. Yeah, this was cool. This was actually one of the better videos I've seen from the Bang Dream groups, and it was just a lot of fun. So I definitely really enjoyed this. I would come back to listen to this. I'm sure if I was come back to listen to Raz or Bang Dream, this would be one of the songs that would be high up on my list. Credit to Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Maybe I'll think of this instead of Johnny Depp attacking imaginary bats with a spatula in the desert from the back of his car. Did I remember that scene correctly? Let's see how it goes. But anyway, let me know what you thought in the comments, as always. And until I hopefully speak to you very soon in Japan for the next one of these. For now, ciao, ciao.